Hey real estate agents, in this video, I'm going to be giving you an overview of how you can use an AI agent to manage your contracts for you and even handle a bunch of admin tasks to take it off of your plate, like client onboarding, email updates, updating your calendar with contract dates, and more. So if you're a real estate agent who is tired of doing all of that back-end admin stuff, like sending client emails with the next steps or updating your calendar with all the different contract condition days and possession days, even things like scheduling inspections, organizing contracts into the client's specific folders, all of those little tedious tasks that you have to do when you sign a new buyer or get a new listing or accept a new offer, I'm going to show you how you can use AI to automate all of that for you. Think of it like your own personal admin assistant. So first, I'm going to show you the overview of an example of how it could all work in your business, and then we're actually going to hop into make.com so I can show you the entire automation workflow and show you what that looks like as well. So let's get started. So we're going to hop into this diagram really quick that I created just to show you what the possibilities are with an AI agent like this, what it can do with your contracts, and how it can kind of add in these admin support roles that really just take a lot off your plate when it comes to signing new buyers or new sellers or getting new offers and amendments. So we start off at the top with the trigger. That's the green box here. Now the trigger is basically what starts the entire process. So what basically wakes up the agent and says, hey, get to work. And in this case, it's when a contract gets signed. So most agents use like a DocuSign or a PandaDoc or some type of e-signature platform for signing their documents. And you use that particular program that you're using as the trigger so that when a new contract gets signed, it triggers the automation to start and it goes to the AI agent that basically inspects the contract and decides what kind of contract it is, right? Is it a listing agreement? Is it a buyer agreement? Is it a purchase contract? All the different variations of agreements that you're going to have. So that agent inspects it and determines what type of contract it is, which is these purple boxes here. Now, for your particular case, it might vary, but I just put these four as an example. They're the most common ones that I see. A buyer contract, a listing agreement, a purchase contract, and an amendment. So the AI decides, okay, it's this kind of contract, therefore I'm going to do the following set of actions, which are the blue boxes here. So let's say that a signed contract comes in, the AI determines that it is a buyer contract. So you just signed a new buyer. Now it's going to go and it's going to essentially replicate the process that you normally do when you sign a new buyer. So for example, it's going to analyze the contract and it's going to extract the client information and the contract dates. So it's actually going to read through that agreement, take out the dates of, the starting and the end agreement dates, the buyer's name, that kind of stuff. Then it can go into like a Dropbox or a Google Drive and it's going to create a folder for that new client. So this is going to be a place where all of their documents are going to be put from now on. After that, it's going to send an email to the client. It's going to say, hey, welcome to the team. Here's what the next steps look like as we find you your next home, and just sort of gets them pumped up about the process. Then it's going to take the contract date. It's going to add those into your calendar so that you're always up to date with your contracts and your agreements and that kind of stuff. It can even go into your CRM and update that lead. So before they were just a lead, now they're an actual client. It's going to update that in your CRM for you. And maybe even send a message to the rest of your team saying, hey, everybody, we just got a new buyer. Everybody be on the lookout for this type of property or search criteria. And the same thing goes for, if you get a new listing. It's going to analyze the contract. It's going to extract the property information, like the address and everything, the contract dates, create a folder for them. It's going to send them a welcome email. Maybe you have like a seller's checklist or a seller's guide that you want to include in that email to send them. It's going to add those dates to your calendar, update in your CRM, notify your whole team about your new listing that they have. You can even add in some extra things. So for example, if you had a purchase contract, it's going to analyze the contract and it's going to extract condition dates and possession days, deposit dates, all that important information that you normally take out of the contract, or maybe your admin person or your personal assistant reads the contract and takes that out. And then, same kind of thing. It's going to create a folder for them. It's going to send an email to the client saying, congratulations on selling your home or purchasing a new home. adds all the dates to your calendar, so that you're aware when your condition dates are and deposit dates, things like that. Updates the lead in the CRM, notifies your team that the property was sold or the buyer found a house. And then you can even do some extra stuff. Like maybe at that point you want to schedule an inspection. So you're going to email your company that you use for inspections and schedule that. Or maybe you want to order the gift basket because they just sold their house, and as a congratulations, you want to send them a gift basket. So you're going to order that. You can get this AI to basically replicate the same process that you normally take when these specific milestones happen in your business, and just take it off your plate and essentially put it on autopilot. Now, of course, within all these steps, you can also add a human element to it. So for example, if you want the AI to write the email congratulating the client, but you don't want it to send it, you want it to show you the email first so you can approve it, and then it'll send it off, you can do that as well. So you can put these sort of human handoff points at any point in the process, so that you're still involved if you don't want to give 100% of the authority to the AI. Same with like amendments. If you have amendments coming in, the AI can actually analyze the amendment and figure out what is being amended. So is it a price? Is it a contract date? What's actually being amended? And then as these contracts come in, whether it's an amendment or just a disclosure or just some other random document that you have in your regular day-to-day process, it's going to analyze who that document is for, because it's going to see, the client signed off on that document, and it's going to go into your Dropbox or your Google Drive or wherever, and it's going to look for that client's name, and then it's going to actually just drop in that contract into their folder. So that way, when you send your client the original email saying, welcome to the group, or can't wait to help you find your next home, you can include the link to that folder so that your client always has their documents at the ready whenever they want them. So now you or your team doesn't have to always be, double checking. Did we send them the contract agreement? Did we send them the offer? Did we send them this? Did we send them that? Everything that comes in that's signed is going to be automatically sent to the client for you, as well as all the other little intricate parts of the process, like updating your CRM and updating your calendar and sending the emails, notifying your team, all that kind of stuff. So we're going to hop into Make here, and I'm just going to show you an overview of what this could look like. Now, it is a much more complicated automation for sure. There are a ton of steps that go into this and a lot of intricate sort of AI prompting and details to make it all work. But just to give you an overview of what it looks like, I'm going to show you here. So this is one example of a system that we built, an AI agent that manages the documents. And basically this one is triggered off of a specific email within the client's email that the AI looks for. So their particular e-signature platform, it sends them an email saying this contract has been signed. So the AI is looking for that particular email. Now, once it finds it, it's going to download the contract that's within the email. So for this particular scenario, it's a link. So the AI is going to basically click on the link and download the contract. And then what we do is a few different steps here to allow the AI to really analyze everything that's going on. So we have Google Vision. So we send the contract into Google Vision. That translates everything into plain text. So certain parts of this automation, we're going to just be analyzing the plain text. Certain parts of it, we're going to be using like ChatGPT to look at the image as the actual file. And then certain parts of it, we're going to be using something called Dumpling AI, which is another version of a AI PDF analyzer. So we're going to do that where we send it to Google Vision. Then we're going to send it to a vector storage inside of a custom OpenAI assistant that we created. So this allows us to add the contract in and then basically talk to it and ask different questions about the contract. So we do that, and then the first main step that happens is OpenAI analyzes the contract to determine what the title of the document is, because the title of the document is going to tell us how we need to handle this next. So for example, it's going to tell us the title of the document, and then it's going to go down one of these different paths. So you can see all of these different arms that break off from this green router here. Those are all the different types of contracts that can be analyzed. So like for this one, it's a EBR, but in this case, it's a buyer representation agreement. This one's like a seller representation agreement or a new listing. Then we have amendments, other random contracts and then offers as well. So for example, let's say it's a buyer contract. It's going to go up here. Dumpling AI is going to analyze it to extract the buyer names. Then we're going to look in Dropbox and see if that buyer already exists in Dropbox, if they already have a folder. If they do, great, we're just going to add it right into their Dropbox. If they don't, we're going to create a new folder for them. And then we're just going to go along, extract their email out of the contract, and then send them an email welcoming them to our real estate group and telling them what the next steps are. We also include the link to the Dropbox folder so that now the client always has a folder that they can go into to access any of their documents. And because we did that, now any documents that come in, no matter what the name of the document is, even if it falls under the other category, meaning it's not one of these other arms, it's going to look inside of Dropbox to find that client's name, and it's going to put their documents into that folder. So now all of your documents always stay organized, because anytime a document is signed, it automatically goes into that client's folder. It gets a little more technical when we go to the contracts, because there's a lot more intricacies that we have to think of, right? We have to determine if everyone has signed off on that contract, because technically there's going to be two different times that you're going to see a signed contract in your inbox, right? The first time, let's say if you have a buyer, you're going to write up the offer, they're going to sign it, and in the eyes of your inbox or of the AI, it's a signed contract. But it hasn't been signed off by the seller. They haven't accepted it yet, right? So the AI has to determine, has it been signed by both the buyer and the seller, or just the buyer? So if it's just the buyer, then it goes down a different path than if it's just the seller. Then it has to determine if this particular offer has conditions on it. Because if it doesn't have conditions, we're going to be sending them a whole different kind of email than if it does have conditions, right? If it does have conditions, the email that we send them at the end is going to lay out all the different condition dates. You have an inspection condition due on this day, you have a financing condition due on this day, all that kind of stuff. Whereas if it's unconditional, then we're not going to mention any of that. So the actual message that we type into the email module is going to be different. So that's why we split it off into these different branches for basically different scenarios that could happen. Now at the end of most of these is this HTTP module. What that is we're triggering a webhook of a second automation that we have. So basically when it runs through this entire process, sends the email off, it's going to trigger this webhook, which then leads to the calendar part of this entire automation, which is, we just extracted all the important information out of that contract. Now we want to add some of that information into our calendar. So we want to add things like the possession day of that property, the condition days, so that we're not, late on signing off on conditions, deposit dates, the date that ends the listing contract, things like that. We want to add all that to our calendar, maybe set up some reminders about booking an inspection and things like that, so that way, every time that a signed contract comes in, the entire process that we would normally take is all done for us. Now we don't have to touch our calendar, we don't have to send an email to the client, we don't have to organize our contracts and drag it from one folder to another in our computer and then attach it to an email and send it to the client. We don't have to do any of that. The AI handles the entire process for us because we basically built it around our particular process that we normally do, and it just replicates it on autopilot for every signed contract that comes in. So super, super powerful. Again, the AI platforms that we use in all of this is OpenAI, so a lot of OpenAI modules in here, as well as Dumpling AI for some of the contract analysis as well. And like I said, this was just 4 different examples that we're showing you here, but you can add as many as you like, right? If you're a commercial agent, maybe there's other commercial contracts that you're normally signing. If you're someone who does land contracts, then there might be other ones as well. Or maybe you want to do less and you only want to do buyers and sellers. Whatever your particular process is, you can customize this entire thing to it. But it gets super, super powerful when you allow AI to sort of come into the mix and take a lot of this off of your plate. And like I said, you can add in your own human touch points at any point in the process so that you don't have to just set it and forget it with AI. You can put different points where you're double checking its work. making sure that it's doing everything. Similar to how you would if you hired like a new personal assistant, right? You're not just gonna let them go off and do everything that they want to do. You're probably gonna double check their work every now and then. And then as you see that they're doing everything correctly, then maybe you give them a bit more leeway and you stop checking their work. So totally up to you. The possibilities are pretty much endless with something like this, but it's super, super powerful and will save you multiple hours every single week. Hopefully that overview gave you a good idea on just what the power of using an AI agent in your real estate business is, what kind of things it can take off of your plate, and how you can use it as basically like your own personal assistant to do administrative work, client onboarding, contract management and organization, and all those kinds of things. So hopefully you got some value out of this video and maybe some ideas on how you should be using AI in your business. If you're not subscribed already, please click that subscribe button below. And if you are subscribed, then thank you so much. I really appreciate the support. I'm trying to pump out more videos in 2025, so just keep an eye out for that. But other than that, guys, I will see you in the next video.